After indentation, now let's learn about the structure of Python program. Structure of Python program. Okay. So first one is function definitions are given at the top, followed by non-function statements. Okay. So then we have another point here, that is the statement which are not the part of function of body are not indented. Okay. Third, we have such statements are the top level statements. Fourth, we have are the part of main program. We have fifth point, execution starts from top level statement. Sixth, we have Python gives special name underscore main underscore. Okay. Then we have seventh point as, and then we have Python. Another point is Python stores this name inbuilt in variable. Wait, built in variable, that is underscore name underscore, like this. Okay. For example, we have define function like this, or you can say function one, then this. Okay. This is basically a syntax. You can say this one, then like this. Here are the code. You can write code here. You can write another function 2, like this, colon, enter, then this, and again like this. Okay. So now what is top level statements? What are top level statement in this is statement 1 and statement 2. Okay. So our next question is, what is flow of execution? Okay. So basically, what is the flow of execution? The flow of execution refers to order in which statements are executed during during the program run. Okay. Then we have a block, another line of flow of execution. A block is executed in execution frame which contains some internal information. Then we have name of functions, then value passed to the function, variables created within the function, information about the next instruction. Okay, as function is called, following method wait, okay, as function is called, following method takes place. First, execution execution frame of function is created. Second, control is transferred to it. Third, within the frame, statements are executed. And fourth part we have, with use of return statement, control shifts back to the statement from where function was called or invoked. Okay. Then we have arguments and parameters. Arguments slash parameters. Okay. Arguments and parameters, you can say, not slash. Yeah. Okay. So we have different points here. Let's read it one by one. Okay. So Python refers to the values being passed as arguments. Python refers to the values being received as parameters. Arguments appear in function call statement. Parameters appears in function header. Arguments can be of any one of the following types. Before going to types, let's recall the arguments and parameters points once. Python refers to the values being passed in argument. So basically, the arguments, the values being passed in arguments. So, and Python refers to the values being received as parameters. Basically, parameters are being received and arguments are passed. Okay, arguments appear in function call statement. Parameters appears in function header. Arguments can be of any one of the following type. Now let's recall this: literals, variables, and expressions. Okay, so parameters can be only of variable type. The word argument refers to actual argument, and the word parameter refers to formal parameter. Okay, then we have passing parameters. How to pass a parameter? See, Python supports three types of formal parameters. First, positional and required arguments. When the function call statement must match the number and order of the argument as defined in the function definition, this is called positional arguments. When the function call statement must match the number and order of the arguments as defined in the function definition, that is the argument defined in the function and the function we are calling, and in calling function the values we are given. Okay, so it match the number and the order of the arguments. Like if we have written abc, okay, then we have written 10, 20, 30, so it matches the number. Such arguments are also called mandatory positional arguments. Such arguments are also called mandatory arguments, as no value can be skipped from the function call and we cannot change the order. Example, consider the function block. For example, define function 1 ABC. Okay, like this, for just for indentation. Okay, then we have this. This is for function 1. This is for call function 2, and this is for calling function 3. Okay, so after this, we have called function 1 xyz, then function 2 2xy, then function 3 356. As I already told you about this example, in the first function call, a will get the value of x, means we have called a function a here. Okay, but whatever the value of x is, that will be the value of a in the function 1. B will be y, and C will be get the value of Z. Okay, now we have one note here. The number of arguments passed has matched with the number of parameters received. Moreover, values are given position or order wise. That is, first parameter receives value of the first argument. Second parameter will receive value of second argument, and so on. Okay, yes. Then we have what are default arguments. So basically, default arguments is a parameter having default value in the function header. Okay, so there's a by default value in the function header which is known as default parameter. And Python allows the user to assign default values to function parameters, which is useful in the case matching argument is not passed in the function call statement. Okay, then we have example here. Define interest PTR equal to 0.8. So in this function, interest function, we have assigned a default parameter to rate, that is 0.8. So whenever we call the function, it will be by default given as value of 8, r is 0.8. Okay, in above example, 0.8 is the default value of parameter r. Okay, I already told you about this. That is rate. If user does not provide the value of r in function call, then Python will fill the missing value with this default value. Now, the function interest is called invoked as per the following statement. That is, interest bracket 2000 comma 3. So basically, we have called a function interest with the values 2003. So according to the one-to-one matching, the value of p will be 2000, that is principal. The value of time is 3, and the in C here we didn't have written, we haven't written r equal to 0.8. Why? Because its value is already given by default in the function header. Okay, so value, here is the explanation of this. Value 2000 is provided to P, that is principal. 3 is passed to parameter T, that is time. The third parameter R is missing in the function call. So it will take the default value 0.10 given in the function header. Okay. Now we have one note here, one or two note for the proper understanding. In the function header, any parameter cannot have the default value unless all parameters appearing on its right side have their default values. Okay, then we have another note. The required parameter should be used before the default parameter. Example, we have defined an interest function p equal to 1000, t equal to 3, and r equal to 0.8, which is true. Then define interest p comma t equal to 2 and r. So this is also valid. Okay, no, this one is invalid because here value is not assigned. Here value is assigned and here value is not assigned. So in see in function header, any parameter cannot have the default value unless all parameters appearing on its right side have their default values. See, on the right side, it doesn't have any default value. On left side, it doesn't have any default value. But we have to check for the right side here. So this implies as an invalid statement, as default parameter cannot be used before the parameter. Define interest p comma t comma r equal to 0.5. So this one is valid because there is not a single variable at right place after r. P comma t cannot can be empty, okay, because they are on the left side of the parameter, but at right side of parameter there is not a single parameter, so that it is a valid function statement. Now we'll learn about keyword argument. So basically, what is a keyword argument? The default arguments give you the flexibility to specify the default value, okay, so that it can be skipped from the function call. But we cannot change the order of the arguments in the calling statement. So, in order to have complete control and flexibility over the arguments, Python provides keyword arguments. Okay, so now let's talk about this. With the help of keyword arguments, user can write any argument in any order provided. We can provide the name to the argument. Then keyword arguments are also called named argument. Example, interest PRIN equal to 2000, time equal to 2. PRIN is basically principal, a short form. Okay. Then rate equal to 0.04. Then we have interest, time equal to 3, print equal to 2000, rate equal to 0.3. So basically, these all are named arguments. We can write it in the form of name also. Both the function calls are valid, even if the order of argument does not match with the order of parameters. Okay, now we have some rules here. Rules for combining all three types of arguments. An argument list must contain first positional argument followed by the keyword argument. Keyword arguments should be taken from required arguments only. Third, do not specify a value for an argument more than once. Okay, now we have another, returning values from the functions. Functions in Python may or may not return a value. So there are two categories of functions in Python. A part, functions returning some value, that is non-void functions, and functions not returning any value, that is a void function. Okay, if the function is not returning some value, like we are using return statement. Okay, so let's suppose we have taken an example, define interest to p equal to 2000, t equal to 3, and r equal to 0.8. Okay, now we have to return the value of interest. So I have written return interest. So it will return the value of interest, whatever the code is. Okay. So it will give me some value. So that is what it is a non-void function. So if someone asks which function is this, so we can say interest is a non-void function because it is returning a value or some value. If there is a void part, like if any function is not returning any value, okay, so that function is known to be a void function. Okay, so let's talk about this non-void function first. Function returning some value, non-void function. The functions that return the computed result in terms of value fall in this category. The computed value is returned using the return statement. The value being returned can be either literal or a variable or an expression. Example, we can say return R, then return 45, then return A plus B. Then we have note here, functions returning the value are also called fruitful functions. Fruitful functions. So if somebody asks about what are fruitful functions, we can say functions returning the value are also called fruitful functions, means that are non-word function. What is the other name of non-word function? It is a fruitful function. Okay. Then we have another note here. The return statement ends the function execution even if it is middle of the function. That is, the function ends the moment it reaches the return statement or all the statements in the function body have been executed. For example, we can say define check of A. Suppose we have written A equal to math dot fabs, means absolute value. Okay, then we'll return A here, then print A like this. Okay, so this print statement, this print statement will not get executed due to the use of return statement before it before it as return will end up the function execution. Check minus 15. Okay, second part, functions not returning any value, that is void functions. The function which performs some work but does not return back any computed value to the caller part is called void functions or non-fruitful functions. Non-void functions are fruitful functions and void functions are non-fruitful functions. A void function may or may not have return statement. If it has, it will be of the form return example define function print welcome to Python, and we have written here return only. So this statement is returning nothing because we haven't write here function. If we write here func, so it will return the function. So this will become the void function, oh non-void function. So currently this is a void function because this function is not returning any value. Okay, so return then the void functions. The void function do not return any value, but they return a legal empty value of Python, that is none, like this. Every void function return value none to its caller. Example, define greet, print hello, a equal to greet empty function, then print a. Output will be hello none because of this one. Okay, then returning multiple values. The return statement inside the function should be of form return value 1, variable 1, then expression value 2, variable 2, and expression 2. The function call statement should receive the values in any of the following ways. Either the returned values are received in the form of tuple define square xyz return x into x and y into y, z into z. Okay, then t equal to square 2 comma 3 comma 4 and print t. Okay, a b part is directly unpack the received value of tuple by specifying the required number of variables on the left hand side, that is v1 comma v2 comma v3 equal to square 2 3 4 print v1 comma v2 comma v3. Okay, so now we have scope of variable. What is the scope of variable? Scope of variables. So the scope rules of the language of the are the rules that decide in which part of the program a particular piece of code would be known and accessed. Okay, so we have three types of scope here. Our first one is global scope. Okay, so let's learn about this. A name declared in the top level statement, that is main part of the program, is said to have global scope. A global variable can be used in any block function in the whole program. Means you can say there is a name declared in the top level statement, that is main part of the program, is said to have a global scope. So a global variable can be used in any block function in the whole program. Okay, then we have local scope. Okay, so what is local scope here? A variable declared in function body is said to have local scope, that is, it can only be used inside the function block. Okay. Now we have lifetime, third scope, lifetime of the variable, lifetime scope, you can say. So what is lifetime of the variable? That is, the lifetime of the variable is the time of which variable lives in the memory. For a global variable, the lifetime is the program, and run for the local variable, lifetime is the function run. Now we have name resolution. So, okay, what is name resolution basically? Whenever we access any variable from within the program or function, Python follows the name resolution rule, which is known as LEGB rule. Python does the following. It checks within the local environment. If it has the variable in it, then Python uses its value. Otherwise, move to the next stage. Second, Python now checks in enclosing environment. If it finds the variable, then it uses it. Otherwise, move to the next stage. Python now checks the global environment. If it finds the variable, it uses its value. Otherwise, move to the next stage. Python checks in built-in environment. If variable is there, Python uses it. Otherwise, Python indicates an error. Okay. So now we are going to learn the use of global variable inside local scope. Like how we can use the global variable inside the local scope. Okay. Yeah. Use of global variable inside the local scope. Local variable created within the same name as that of global variable will hide the global variable. Suppose you want to assign the value to the global variable without creating any local variable, or if you assign any value to the name, Python will create the local variable with that name. So to avoid such problems, Python provides the global keyword in order to tell the function that for a particular name, do not create a local variable. Rather, use it as a global variable. User needs to write global variable underscore name. Example, define state 1, global tigers. Okay, then we have written tigers equal to 15, then print tigers, then tigers equal to 95, then print tigers, then state 1 we are calling, then print tigers. So the output of this function will be 95, 15, and 15. Okay, see, first we are printing tigers. Okay, so it will print the this tigers, global tigers. Okay, so 95. Then we print tigers, state 1, this one, then global tigers 15, then this tiger, then 15, this one. Okay, so this is the answer of this. So now let's learn about the mutability and the immutability properties of the passed objects. Okay, so Python variables are not storage containers. Rather, they are memory references as they refer to the memory address where value is entered. Depending upon the mutable or immutable property of its data type, a variable behaves differently. That if the variable is immutable, then any change in its value will, okay, any change in the value will also change the memory address it is referencing to. If the variable is mutable, then any change in the value of variable will not change its memory address. Conclusion. The function f1 receives the parameter a and then changes its value by expression a equal to a plus 3, but the changed value does not reflect the original variable num when the control returns back to the main part. Okay, so our conclusion for this is the function f1 receives the parameter a and then change its value by expression a equal to a plus 3. Okay, so but the changed value does not reflect the original variable num when the control returns back to the main part. Okay, so now we have some practice questions based on the functions. So this is the first question here. Define change m comma n for I in range of n. If m of I modulus 5 equal to 0, m of I floor division 5. Okay, so I am writing here few codes and you have to give the answer of that codes in the comment section so that I can know who is okay. Yeah, so I'm writing all the questions here and I want you to write the answers in the comment section so that I get to know that functions are understandable to you or not. Okay, so this is the third question, and we have some fourth with the global variable, this, and then we have fifth, this one, and then we have sixth question, not sixth, but we have program based on the function concept here. That is printing a table. Okay. Define table num for I in range 1 to 11. Print num x I equal to num into I and n equal to int input, enter the number. So you can write this code very easily and the output of this code is also very easy. Just you have to remember the previous lectures. Okay. So like in further videos, we are going to learn about the palindrome number. Okay. So whenever you got to know about the palindrome number, then you can do this question with a function variable also. See, define palin num, n equal to num, reverse equal to 0, while n modulus equal to 0, then d equal to n modulus 10. So basically, this is the method you can call a function and write the whole code in the function. And there's the same question to display the reverse of a number. Okay. Then we have a list based programs using functions. C, d equal to n modulus 10. Okay. And this one also to double the element of the list if it is even, otherwise convert it into its half, define change L x equal to ln L. So I have given you some different examples or practice questions, okay, so that you can do at your own and get to know. If you get any doubt in this programming questions, so you can tell me. I'll make a video of the solutions also. Okay, so this is the last topic of functions. Types of functions, built-in functions. These are the functions which are predefined in Python and are always available for use. Example, len, float, id, type. Functions defined inside module. These are the functions which are inbuilt or predefined inside particular module. If user want to use these functions, then the corresponding module has to be imported first. Sqrt, POW are inbuilt in math module. User defined functions. These are the functions which are not predefined or inbuilt in any module, rather than they are created defined by user himself. Example, value function and interest. So this is our whole topic of functions. And I hope you will understand the functions topic and practice all the questions. Thank you.